Standing in the middle of my new living room, I breathed in the scent of fresh paint, the smell of a clean slate. Cardboard mountains of boxes surrounded me. One was labeled Old Files Burn, a touch of humor from my late wife about my 20 years on the force, 15 in SWAT, and the last 5 as chief of police. This house was my reward, my quiet place. I bought it for the silence, a street where you hear birds in the morning, not sirens. My grandpa used to say a man's home is his castle, but the best castles have quiet neighbors. For 3 weeks, it was perfect. I unpacked, set up my workshop, and met a few neighbors. Life was peaceful. Then, the first piece of paper appeared. Tucked under my truck's wiper blade was a bright red sheet with angry bold font. Violation notice. My lawn, apparently, was a quarter of an inch too high. The fine was $50, signed by a Karen Van Fleet, president of the Oak Street Homeowners Association. I looked at my lawn, then my neighbors. They were identical. I felt the familiar tightening in my gut, the feeling I get when I see a bully at work. I decided to ignore it. The next day, there were 2 notices, one for the lawn and a new one for my trash can being visible from the street. The total was now $125. The language was escalating, filled with phrases like immediate compliance and further action. She was testing me, wanting to see if the dog in this yard would bite from my window. I saw her, a woman with sharp features and a haircut you could use to level a picture frame, making notes on a clipboard. Our eyes met. She gave me a look of pure, unadulterated smugness. My quiet street now felt like occupied territory. The next morning, I drove not to the police department, but to the county clerk's officer, place of facts I'd like to see, the incorporation papers for the Oak Street Homeowners Association. I told the woman at the counter. She typed the name into her computer. Once, twice, a third time. She sighed. There's no record of an HOA by that name in this county, she said flatly. None has ever been filed for this subdivision. I showed her one of the red notices. A humorless smile touched her lips. One of these happens more than you'd think. Most people just pay, afraid of trouble. I need a certified letter, I said, stating that an official search was conducted and no such HOA exists. 2 copies, she asked. 2 copies, I confirmed, holding the official sealed documents. I knew I had a weapon of truth, but simply confronting her wasn't enough. You don't just scare a wolf away, you cage it. For that, I needed to give her more rope to hang herself with. In the car, I called my best lieutenant, Danny Reyes. Danny, I need a quiet off-the-books background check on a woman named Karen Van Fleet. Is this going to be one of your projects, Chief? I could hear the smile in her voice. Let's just say, I replied, I think I found a weed in my new garden, and I'm going to need a bigger shovel. That evening, my house became a tactical observation post. I installed discreet, high-definition cameras outside. I swapped a button on my shirt with a high-fidelity microphone. Finally, I slipped on a simple black ring. With a specific 2-tap, a sequence, it would send a high-priority alert to Danny, activating a live audio and video stream of everything happening. It was my panic button, and I had a feeling I was about to use it. I briefed my neighbors, Duck, the man with the leaf blower, and the young family who brought me cookies. If you see any commotion at my place, I asked, would you mind filming it with your phone? They both agreed. The trap was laid. All I had to do was wait for the quarry to step into it. Inside the SUV, the 2 fake cops were chuckling, high on their power trip. They had no idea they were being shadowed by my best officers, their every move tracked by GPS. They planned to drive me to a deserted industrial park, intimidate me, and leave me there as we entered the industrial park. Perfect takedown zone. A haptic signal buzzed in my shoe. Takedown initiated. Suddenly, a construction van in front of us slammed on its brakes. Our driver stomped on his, and we were immediately boxed in by a black sedan from behind and Boone's truck from the side. The doors of the surrounding vehicles flew open, and my team, in full tactical gear, emerged. Police, show me your hands. The commands were overwhelming. The 2 goons in the front seat froze, their tough guy act evaporating into pure panic. I was quickly freed from the cheap cuffs. I was no longer the victim. I was the chief of police, and this was my scene. The suspects were pulled from the car, their faces pressed against the hood. Chief Boone reported, we found 2 weapons. One is a convincing airsoft pistol. The other, under the driver's seat, is a real 9mm with the serial number filed off. The charges had just escalated to a federal firearms violation. Danny arrived, on the scene. Warrants are ready, Chief, for Karen Van Fleet's house, car, computers, and all financial records. Good, I said. Now it's time to go after the head of the snake. The search of the SUV was a goldmine. We found stacks of violation notices, maps of neighborhoods with targeted houses, fake police badges, and over $5,000 in extorted cash. But the real prize was a prepaid burner phone. Our tech expert quickly extracted its contents. The last call was to a number labeled K, Boss Karen Van, and a text from her, sent just 20 minutes earlier, read, "Is it done? Is the trash taken out?" The trash, that's what she called me. That single text revealed her malicious intent. A set of keys from the SUV led us to a storage unit. It wasn't full of old furniture. It was her factory. Inside were filing cabinets, a commercial printer, and boxes of her red violation notices. She wasn't just scamming my street. She was running multiple fake HOAs all over the city, targeting the elderly and new residents. The final cabinet held the motherlode, templates for forged court orders, fake property lien forms, and scanned signatures of judges. This was a sophisticated, long-term criminal conspiracy. According to the burner phone, she was holding a board meeting in her garage that night. For a woman with such theatrical delusion, one should definitely subscribe to Drama Lady Files. Perfect, I told Danny. We're going to raid that meeting. I want her arrested in front of her entire fake board. That night, my team moved like shadows, surrounding her house. I listened with a directional mic as Karen lectured her to board members, angry that her employees had disappeared. She had no idea they were in a holding cell, racing to testify against her. Go, I whispered into my radio. We shoved at the garage. Door open, police. Nobody move. The scene froze. Karen's face cycled through confusion, outrage, and finally pure panic. She shrieked and tried to run, but Boone, solid as an oak tree, blocked her path. She struggled, screaming, I am the president of the HOA. I have rights. You have the right to remain silent, I said calmly, walking toward her and pulling out my own set of handcuffs. Karen Van Fleet, you are under arrest for extortion, conspiracy, racketeering, and criminal impersonation. The final, decisive click of the cuffs echoed in the garage. We led her out into a street now filled with the flashing lights of real patrol cars. The neighbors were on their porches, watching the Queen, being led away in chains. The reign of fear on this street was over. In court, the evidence was overwhelming. Karen Van Fleet was sentenced to 15 years in federal prison. All her assets were seized, and restitution was ordered for every victim she had ever extorted. A month later, I sat on my porch, drinking coffee. The street was light and peaceful again. The quiet I had bought the house for had returned, not the kind that hides trouble, but the kind you earn with justice. My home was safe. My fence line was clear.